It's been about a year since I graduated college. I have a few tips that I thought I would share with you guys because it would have been nice to know these things. My concentration at the University of Florida was in psychology. Frans de Waal is a primatologist who coined the term alpha male. It comes from monkeys. That term comes from the science of monkeys, okay? And it's interesting, you know, studying monkeys teaches you a lot about human beings, as you might figure. De Waal hates the way that business books talk about alpha males. Alpha males aren't bullies and they aren't tyrants in nature. New alpha males that are campaigning to take the place of an existing alpha male are usually very generous. They will go out of their way to give food, to show affection, show empathy. They will kiss babies on the campaign trail, so to speak, as you can imagine certain politicians doing. Alpha males in the monkey world are basically politicians. And they aren't necessarily bullies. They are prom king and queens. There's also alpha females in the monkey world, by the way, in the chimpanzee world, I should say. So what does it mean to be an alpha male? Well, for one, it means to be very empathetic. You want to be the one that everybody else turns to in times of crisis. You want to show that you're a reliable, generous, empathetic presence. That's not at all what we think of when we think of alpha males, but that's how it is in the natural world. There's this theory in psychology called the mere exposure effect. The mere exposure effect says that you will be friends with people who are exposed to you long enough. What would you think is the number one factor that predicts friendship? If somebody had asked me around the time I started college, I might have said interests. Sure, yeah, that works, but it's not the number one factor for predicting friendship. The number one factor for predicting friendship is a thing called proxemics, amount of time spent physically close to somebody. If I asked you what was the name of the person who came after you in the alphabet during elementary school when they made you line up alphabetically, would you be able to tell me who that person was? Chances are you might. What if I asked you about the person that you met at a party a week ago? Chances are you wouldn't. The reason for that is that you spent 5 years physically close to the person who came after you in line. This is the exciting part. How can we hack that? Let's say you're in your first semester, first week, and you see a pretty girl sitting by herself at the cafeteria or at the food hall. They're not cafeterias anymore in college, kids. If your first instinct is to sit as far away from her as you possibly can, don't. Consider sitting at the same table. You don't have to say anything except hi. You don't have to force things. In fact, please don't force things. Say hi, maybe ask her about her day, eat, mind your own business, but be close to her. Be close to the person that you want to be friends with. These are real relationships. They're not necessarily friendships. They're relationships. One day, you might want one of them to connect you with their manager on LinkedIn. It could be as simple as that. But those relationships begin to matter from here on out. Psychology hack number 2 is called how to sound trustworthy. And I'm actually doing a terrible job of following my own advice because I have a little notepad in my hands, so I can't use my hands as I should. People want to see your hands, okay? When you're hiding your hands, it means you're hiding something. When you're showing your hands, it means you're showing your hand. Have you ever heard that expression? There's an expression that's like showing your hand in poker. You want to show your hand in life. You want to seem transparent. You don't want to be walking around all tight with your hands behind your back, kind of like. Here are 3 things you can do to sound more trustworthy. Show your hands. Shift the volume, speed, and pitch of your voice. And talk a little lower. Drop your voice. Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady of Britain, She took speech classes, and basically they told her to drop her voice. Your voice shouldn't be low all the time, but you do want to err on the low side rather than the high side. If you have a high-pitched voice, I'm sorry guys, but it comes off as untrustworthy, apparently. You want to avoid a thing called uptalk. Uptalk is, imagine Kim Kardashian voice. Okay. See how it goes up at the end? Vegetable. I'm walking around the chickens. The chickens. Alright, something like that. I don't know how to do the uptalk. Just Google it or something. Even more important than talking low though is diversity in your speech. You don't just want to talk one way the entire time like I'm doing. You want to talk a little fast, a little high pitched, and then you want to drop your voice. Talk fast the majority of your speech, but then pause and give emphasis while using your hands. It helps you come across as more trustworthy, apparently. There are a few exercises you can do to sound more trustworthy, like very practical exercises. The first exercise you're gonna do is you're gonna blow your cheeks. You're gonna blow your cheeks out. you're gonna blow your cheeks. Then you're gonna grab 4 fingers and you're gonna stick them right in your mouth. You're gonna do that for 10 seconds. Stretch your facial muscles out. Having loose facial muscles is going to help the timbre of your voice. Timbre. The timbre of your voice is basically what comes out of your sound box. What's your sound box? It's your mouth. It's your literal mouth shapes how your voice is gonna sound. The shape of your nose, the shape of your lips, the size of your cheeks, the structure of your jaw. All of that is going to shape what sound will actually come out of your mouth. And you can sound more trustworthy by optimizing the cheek area. I got this stuff, by the way, from a TED Talk in Spanish by Emma Rodero. She's a communications teacher at a university in Spain. Don't know what university, but I've personally been doing the exercises for months and I've found them to be super helpful. Hopefully these help you out in your speeches, your presentations, your study groups, and in your social life, of course. Those are 3 psychological tricks I wish I had known before starting college, and I hope they're useful to you. They're very simple tricks, and psychology is awesome. Subscribe to my channel. I'll give you guys more content about things that I regret for my 20s. That's the next video coming up. Subscribe to the channel, check us out. All right, peace. There was a Gallup poll that said that employees that had close friendships at work were on average 50% more satisfied than those who didn't.